Welcome to the Fractional Show. I'm your host, Stella, and today I've got my friend Chris Ciampa, who I've actually known for quite a bit, really on the real estate side. Chris has been an absolutely amazing operator, killing it, really into the details, and now this time around, he's actually brought something that's very, very special, and it's an incredibly hot topic that I'm personally really interested and excited about too. It's business acquisitions. Chris, welcome on the show, and tell us more about what you're getting into.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Excited to see you again. It's been so long, but now we've kind of reunited again. So, it's just really the next chapter. I'm just excited to start the next chapter. We've been, doing real estate and private lending for so many years, and so now we're just really kind of transitioning, I guess, and kind of just going on to bigger and better things. Now we're moving to business acquisitions, and that's kind of what we're bringing to the table. So we're just excited for that next venture.
I love it. Chris, well, you've got a potential opportunity that you're looking at. Tell us more about that. It's a demolition project. Unpack that for us.
Yeah, so it's something we've been looking at for a while because obviously we're looking for not really the boring businesses, but we're looking for the businesses that really fit our buy box of kind of fits our niche, can expand our Blue Line Home Solutions brand that we already have going, and so the demo company. It really just crossed our path and was a great opportunity to start with. And as we unpacked it, it really became so much more because it's not really going to be a one-time business and then this is the business we run and then we just keep running the business. It has the opportunity to be that stepping stone for a larger construction services company. And so we're really, really excited about that piece.
That's amazing. And Chris, I would love to hear more about just how you think about business acquisitions in real estate, right? Obviously, you've been in the real estate game for so long. What about business acquisitions really drew you in and you felt like that is the next chapter? How do you think about the comparison?
Yeah, good question. I think it was a logical progression, right? I mean, because a lot of us in the real estate world, we're business owners. We don't realize it, but we're business owners. And usually it's because it starts as a business of one. So we don't really think of it as a business, but it is. We solve problems every day. We deal with capital stacks every day. We deal with opportunities every day. We assess risk every day. And so I think it was just kind of that natural conversation as you start talking to other business owners and you put yourself in different circles that, whether it's a one-man shop, a two-man shop, a 10-man shop, or 1,000-person business, we all deal with the same issues, right? We deal with the day-to-day and we solve problems and, we just kind of plug holes where holes need to be plugged. In larger businesses, you just have more people to help plug those holes. And so it kind of just started from us talking to other people that have owned businesses and whatnot. And then I had, a few opportunities come my way where people were retiring and they started, diving in. And what I quickly realized is that the real estate knowledge was an easy transition to start looking at financing and creative solutions, right? Because businesses run very similar to a rehab or a renovation project, or if you're managing a subject to property and how to get that negotiation done, because you're dealing one-on-one with people. So it's still a people business, and the creative solutions on how to execute the deal, it just gets even bigger and better on the business side. And so that's kind of what really attracted me. And that's why they just kind of bridged and it just got me excited. I get goosebumps as we talk about it, just because it's been such a long journey, just kind of investigating it and getting here to this point where we actually have a couple opportunities. The demolition company is really just the first step, but we've got some other ones in the pipeline as well.
I love it. That makes a ton of sense. Chris, how did you find this demolition company? What was that journey?
So as with anything, right, when you first start, you don't know what you don't know. And so that was me, right? I was, very confident in the world of real estate and, buying distressed properties and buying rental properties and buying subject to properties and, kind of negotiating those. And you get your little niches on how you can get to talk to people. And so what I started from ground zero, just like any of us would as an entrepreneur. I just started calling business brokers. I started cold calling businesses. I started just talking to people and telling them what I was looking for. And it's amazing what doors that opens when you just start saying, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Or when you're talking to a business owner, you start asking, how did you get into this business? Or, if you had to retire today, what would happen to your business? And you just start having those conversations and you start to grow in confidence, right? This is something we've been doing, I'm going to call it on the side, right? Because as you know, my progression, right? I was a W-2 employee up until very recently, and I had this real estate side hustle that quickly overgrew over the last 5 to 10 years my true W-2 job. And so started giving back and helping people. And so now I've got this real estate business. And then about a year ago, we started this side hustle of looking at business acquisitions. And so maybe I don't know if I'm the king of side hustles, or I'm just a glutton for punishment. I don't know. But that's kind of how we got started, just looking into that side of things. So just asking questions, starting to look at I'm not going to say useless, but looking at the stuff online that's, on BizQuest or all these other business sites, and usually those don't pan out. It's kind of like, a home advertised on the MLS, like they just really don't fit our numbers as an agent or as an investor rather. And so I had a few key real estate broker relationships that I developed, and these ones started to come to me off market, which is always the goal. But again, it comes back to relationships and just getting out there and talking to people. Relationships.
Yep. And yes, truly the side hustle takeover over here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, as I'm hearing you describe this, I definitely see a lot of parallels with what's happening in real estate and business acquisitions. And I want to talk more about that buy box and what you're looking for, because you've brought that up a few times. I mean, in the real estate world, you kind of formulate, okay, based off of this market, this is a competitive cap rate to hit. You would want this kind of cash flow. Is that a similar kind of logic in business acquisitions, depending on, maybe what industry or sector it's in? What do you look for specifically for your buy box and business acquisitions?
Great question. So obviously we look for businesses that are cash flowing, right? And so we look for businesses where there's opportunities where it's a long-standing business. So we don't want to come in and buy a business that's new to a market or new to the industry. We want a business that's been around and been established and has some goodwill and has a brand, so to speak, in whatever market it's in. We've really focused on the services piece just because of my background. I'm so familiar with that. So, anything in the construction industry, that's just my background even before becoming a police officer and getting into real estate. And so I know that industry really well. And so we're looking for things. That's our biggest buy box, but the biggest piece is it needs to cash flow, right? It needs to cash flow and be currently cash flowing. So whatever capital stack we bring in when we acquire the business can sustain that new capital stack, right? So that's in a nutshell, that's kind of the buy box we're looking for. It's kind of a boring buy box, right? It's nothing fancy, nothing glamorous. It doesn't mean it has to be $1 million business. We've got businesses now and opportunities that are coming here shortly that range anywhere from $200,000 as a business all the way up to, a $1.5 million business, and businesses that do $3 million of gross annual sales every year. So it's kind of everything in between, right? But the main thing is that business structure, that it's already intact, it's already existing, and it's already winning in its own industry.
I love that. That makes a ton of sense. And for this specific demolition company, from what I was understanding, it seems like you've been able to negotiate quite some really strong terms. How did that come about? And also just unpack for us, what kind of multiples do you look for? And then how do you negotiate that to make it an absolute win for you?
Absolutely. So we've had, I'm going to say a success with this one, but again, I think it's because of relationships, right? It's because of the off-market thing that we've got going with the broker, and he knows that we can perform, and that's really what the sellers were looking for. That the sellers, they were initially very high on their valuation and their multipliers. You talk about multipliers, they're very important, right? So in this industry, anywhere between 1 and 1.5 multipliers, and we're kind of beating that with our acquisition price. But it's really not a win or lose situation between us and the sellers, right? We've found mutual agreement on, I'm helping solve a problem that they have, right? And they're helping me acquire a cash flowing business. So we've kind of melded those two together. And as you know, in real estate and in business, a lot of times we're just problem solvers, and sometimes the problem isn't the money. So we're fortunate on that regard, but it's really just bridging that relationship gap. We've been able to come in at the right time. I don't think it's anything special in terms of how I've negotiated or what we've done, but there's a little bit of that. But the due diligence and the relationship building is what really has set this deal apart, because from a financial standpoint and a risk mitigation standpoint, we've hit a home run on this one.
Love it. A home run is always just the thing that gets you really pumped up. And
It is.
yeah, now I'm trying to understand, okay, you've negotiated, you've done the due diligence, the terms are a home run, now you're buying it. What does that transition look like when you now are coming in as the new owner and putting in new processes? What is that going to be like?
Again, it's going to be really hands-on initially, right, with myself and the current owners, which will be the former owners. We've negotiated a 6-month transition because we want to make sure we've got our employment contracts in place, because we do have some key employees that we want to keep on the operations side. And my background, I'm able to come in and help on that operations side. And we've already figured out the licensing piece. And our company is actually already in the process of getting that new licensing. So really, it's going to be, I hate to be a broken record, but it's going to be a relationship transition, right? Because most of the business is generated by repeat customers and repeat general contractors that they have existing relationships with. So it's going to be coming in with that personality of, hey, we're not here to change a lot, because this is a very successful business. We're just here to make sure that it keeps running, that engine keeps running, but how do we improve it as we go forward, right? But let's not rock the boat initially. Let's come in and stabilize everything and just make sure we have better systems in place than the current owners do. And I think that's part of why the negotiation has been so good. I think the systems currently are a little bit lacking and they're very manual, but it's plug and play when we come in with new systems, and it'll, I'm not going to say run itself, but it makes it a lot easier to run it.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's how you go into the path of scaling as well. And I love the idea of, then stacking multiple of these businesses and then eventually rolling them up and sending it to, having an exit to private equity. That itself as a concept is really fascinating to me. And Chris, for this specific club, tell us more about what this club is and why you're inviting people to be a part of this.
Yeah, no, so Blue Line Lending Club, it's really an opportunity, and as you know, I've really have a heart and soul since I have a background in law enforcement. I really have a heart and soul to help first responders. We've branched out beyond that, obviously, but that's where I love to give back, because I love to educate folks. And so really what I want to be able to do is take another leap, right? Real estate has been a good leap for me to educate and a platform to help others earn wealth and learn strategies that they can be an investor too. It's not just for the institutional lender. It's not just for the people that have $1 million in their bank account and they don't know what to do with their money, right? This club is designed to help educate and make available investments like this, where people can actually get involved, right? And it's open to them. And so that's a barrier that we're really trying to assist with right now, is just make it open to, obviously my heart is towards first responders, police, fire, nurses, but we open to everybody, so.
That's amazing. And I resonate with what you said so much, because I think more than just, the returns that you get from making an investment, there's so much more in terms of actually understanding, right? Like what even goes into the acquisition process? What do you even look for when you're doing due diligence on whether something is a good deal or not? And then how do you then deal with the ins and outs of a business and making it run and making it scale and more automated, right? Like I feel like all of that just gives people so much knowledge and understanding so that they're empowered to make smarter financial decisions in the future.
And what you said really warms my heart, Stella, because that's what it's all about, right? So I love the fact when I can get on a phone call or a Zoom call like this and I can sit across from somebody and just not only learn from them, but if I can give them one tidbit of information that they can go start to research on their own and apply in their personal life. And everybody's different. Everybody will apply it different. That's the cool thing about business and real estate, is that you can take one concept and then you can tailor it to your specific situation, and just the limits are, it's endless possibilities. And so that actually brings me the most joy. Obviously, we love writing checks back and that sort of thing, but when I can even, and I'm not a smart guy, I don't claim to know it all, like, you know me, I just, I'm very humble, and we always joke around in our industry that, you know, I'm just a dumb cop, right? That's what we always say. And if you want to learn if you can break something, just give it to a cop and we'll figure out how to break it. And so I think just giving any tidbit of information to somebody and they can just grow that for themselves, that puts a bigger smile on my face. It really, really does, because, you know, you give a police officer or a firefighter or nurse or anybody for that matter just a little bit of information, especially to a police officer, they're going to go research that thing, and they're going to come back and be like, hey, did you know you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, and you can do this? And it's like, yeah, or yeah, cool. And so that's the most rewarding piece, right? But then if you can be part of the journey of helping them grow their family wealth and grow their knowledge to where they set themselves up future-wise and their kids, that's better than any investment I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. And even for me, you know, as someone who's a real estate investor, I'm personally so fascinated about the business acquisition space. And I look at this and I'm like, well, I could either use all of my own money and have really no clue what I'm doing and try to start from scratch and probably make a lot of dumb mistakes along the way that will cost me quite a fortune. Or, you know, I partner with someone who has more experience. It's just a much more accelerated path, right? Like riding on the shoulders of giants, which Chris here, you are the giant. And that's something that really excites me. It's like, okay, we can actually learn and earn through the process, have a seat at the table, and essentially be a part of the Chris rocket ship over here.
Absolutely. I'm excited about that, but we got to get one thing clear, Stella, as I'm not the giant, right? You know, we've met, we've talked in person, like we've been around each other. Like, I am no giant by any means. I'll be lucky to see over the steering wheel when I'm driving. Like, there's no giant in me, but I've just learned along my way, as you have as well, which is why we're sitting on this podcast, is I surround myself with people that are smarter than myself, right? And people that have been there, done that, which is why I'm here with you talking about Fractional and how we can do this together. You know, because I have experience lending money, but I come to the experts in you guys with Fractional, right? When I was learning how to be a real estate investor, the best investment I made was in myself and in mentors. Same thing with business acquisitions, right? You have to surround yourself with the right people. And I think that's why we're on the phone or on Zoom now, because you're part of that team, right? Because you're the expert in this realm, and I lean on you, right? That's what I do. And so although I may seem like the giant, I got a whole bunch of smarter people behind me, next to me, and in front of me saying, nope, this is what we should do, right? And so I'm just thankful for that, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to work with you as we've talked over the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, we are absolutely grateful for that, and it's just as you said, right? 1 + 1 is greater than 2, and you're building your powerhouse team where everyone's bringing their superpowers to the table. Like, that's how we create something that's much bigger than ourselves. And
right.
Chris, with the club specifically, what is the exit strategy?
Yeah, so the exit strategy on this one's a little unique. So we've got a couple different exit strategies, but to keep it simple, really, we're just focused on the initial exit strategy. It's not dependent on a sale. It's not we're going to hold for 3 to 5 years and then, you know, sell the company and whatever and hope for bigger returns. It's really kind of a shorter term because we've got financing approved, institutional financing approved, and so it's really just using that initial capital to get the company up and running and stabilized, which it already is because it's established. So it's really more of a short-term play, right? So it goes back to that private lending and that, you know, almost a real estate world where they're quicker projects, right? And so this is just the first step, and then as we return, we come back, and as we get bigger, we'll come back for another capital call, and everyone wants to join, and we'll just keep growing it from there.
I love it. I love it. You've talked about, the ideal investors that you want, obviously coming from your world, right? The first responders. In terms of, financial goals, right? What kind of investors would be a really great fit for this lending debt model and business acquisitions?
I think it's your standard person, right? The person that wants to know they're partnering with someone that has mitigated the risks, right? As much as we can. As we know, nothing in this world is guaranteed, right? But as we look at things, what have we done to mitigate that risk, right? And there's several things we've done in doing our due diligence to find the right company in terms of its current financials and its sustainability over the last 6 years. So this is a company that has continued to grow. And so they've got operators that are already in place that are still operating, and the business has started to run itself, right? There's employees in place, and there's a corporate structure, I should say, in place that, as an owner, we don't have to be involved in the day-to-day. We do from a knowledge standpoint, but it's not relying on me pushing a button. It's not relying on me going out and pushing, knocking down a wall or knocking down a building. It's not reliant on that. And so that's the biggest piece. And so it's an investor that's looking for the risks have been mitigated and the due diligence has been complete, right? And it's been thorough. And we're transparent with what we've done. And we're transparent with what we maybe don't know. And I don't even think we know what we don't know yet. But, we've gone through this thing with a fine-tooth comb, with legal, with independent CPA reviews. And so the investor we're looking for is someone that is ready to invest, but at the same time, someone that's excited to grow with us and continue that investment and know that, yeah, we've got a good partner in Chris and we've got a good partner in Blue Line Lending.
I love that. And what do you expect the investor experience to be like once they've joined the club?
It should be a thrilling ride, right? It should be exciting, right? They should have that normal emotion as an investor. I know a lot of times I call it the investor bell curve, right? When you get excited about the opportunity, whatever that is, and then you get the little nervous jitters when you actually have to hit the button and actually send the money. But then you get notice that it was sent and you're like, hey, I'm part of something really, really cool. And then, a couple months in, you're like, wait, what's happening? What's going on, right? Even though and then you get update after update after update, and you're like, oh, okay, I feel good. And then it goes a little bit farther, 6 months, 7 months, and you're like, wait, when's this happening? And then all of a sudden, the returns come back, and it's like, oh, that was awesome. I love it. Yes, I'm so ready to do it again. And then we come with another opportunity, and they're like, wait, what is this opportunity, right? And so it should be exciting. It's going to be a good ride. There's going to be transparency. There's going to be openness. You're going to get updates frequently from us. That's just kind of our mode. But it should be an exciting and fun ride.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think it's very addicting as well, right? Like the more times you go through that cycle, you definitely build that muscle. You identify what makes sense to you for your goals, and now you've built more and more trust in the partnership too, right? So I definitely think this is the first of many, and I'm really excited to have an insight seat of it too, to be a part of that growth. Chris, any last takeaways that you want to share with folks, not even necessarily around the club, but just, overall your vision, your philosophy, where do you see this heading just for you in the next 5 years?
Good question. I mean, I think the biggest word would be growth, right? Growth and sustainability. We want to put something together that matches kind of what our goals are, and our goals are growth and sustainability. We want to build something that's bigger than ourselves, right? And then we want to be able to give back. So we don't want to just go acquire business after business after business and just become this engine that is, I guess, has no personality, right? And no end vision. The end vision is, how many people can we bring with us, right? And what does this look like as the club scales? Right, that's kind of my goal, is how does this club scale? And then that's with knowledge, that's with education, and that's with confidence, right? Because like you said, it's kind of addicting, but it's addicting because you learn how to do it, and it's not just reserved for large institutions. So we've got some really cool things planned that I'll just plant a seed for you out there. It's bigger than business acquisition stuff, and It's kind of combining the business acquisition with real estate stuff. So we've got some really cool things that's not just limited to buying businesses, right? So this is just the ground floor of what we're scratching the surface. So I'm really, really excited for that. As you can see, I'm high energy to begin with, but that vision, it's not going away. So
I love it. And you are such a doer. That is honestly my favorite thing about you is everything is foundational. It's brick by brick, and you're making those power moves and really going from, you know, one milestone to the next and just continuing to drive that progress. I don't think we've, you know, every single time we've had a conversation, there's been just incredible progress, and that speaks volumes to who you are as an operator, which is why I'm personally super excited to be a part of this.
God
So
bless you
Chris,
for saying that. That's
yeah,
cool.
thank you. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for running this club. I'm going to be on the inside of it. So for anyone listening, if you're excited about business acquisitions, if you want to come in and be a lender, understand how this works while you're making money, then come on in, learn more, and we'll see you on the inside of the club. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Stella. Great having you. God bless you.